The pavement cracked under the relentless blows of the jackhammer, sending shockwaves through the quiet suburban street. As the rhythmic pounding echoed, Donna watched in horror from her window, her heart racing. This was no routine maintenance. The homeowners association had turned her peaceful cul-de-sac into a war zone. Donna burst through her front door, racing across the lawn to confront the crew tearing up her property. "What on earth do you think you're doing?" she demanded, her voice shaking with fury. The foreman, a burly man in a neon vest, turned to face her, a smug grin on his face. "We're fixing this eyesore of a sidewalk, ma'am. It's a liability, you see. The HOA decided it needed to be replaced." Donna's eyes narrowed. "Replaced? This sidewalk is perfectly fine. You can't just destroy my property without my consent." The foreman chuckled. "Oh, but we can. The HOA voted, and their decision is final. You're lucky we're not billing you for the entire cost." Donna felt the blood drain from her face. "The entire cost? How much are you talking about?" $30,000, the foreman replied casually, turning back to oversee his crew. $30,000. Donna's knees buckled as the gravity of the situation hit her. This was her home, her investment, and the HOA was tearing it apart without a second thought. She had to stop them, no matter what it took. Donna rushed back into the house, frantically dialing her husband, Mark. "Mark, you need to get home right now," she pleaded. "The HOA is destroying our sidewalk, and they're charging us $30,000 for it." Mark's voice was laced with concern. "What? That's insane. I'm on my way." As Donna waited anxiously, the jackhammer's relentless pounding continued, each strike a painful reminder of the battle she was about to face. The HOA had gone too far, and she was determined to fight back. When Mark arrived, his face was etched with fury. "All right, let's go talk to these people," he said, his jaw set. The couple strode up to the foreman, who greeted them with a condescending smile. "Decided to join the party, I see. This is our property, and you have no right to destroy our sidewalk without our permission," Mark said, his voice low and menacing. The foreman shrugged. "The HOA says otherwise. If you have a problem with it, take it up with them." Donna felt her frustration boiling over. "We're not paying $30,000 for this. It's outrageous, and you know it." The foreman's expression hardened. "That's not my problem, ma'am. You can take it up with the HOA board. In the meantime, we have a job to do." As the jackhammer resumed its relentless pounding, Donna and Mark exchanged a determined look. They weren't going to back down without a fight. This was their home, their investment, and they were going to do whatever it took to protect it. Donna and Mark rushed into their house, their minds racing. They had to act fast before the HOA crew completely demolished their sidewalk. Donna grabbed her laptop and began frantically searching for information on their rights as homeowners. "According to the HOA bylaws, they need to give us 30 days' notice before making any major changes to our property," Donna said, her eyes scanning the document. "And they have to provide a detailed plan and cost breakdown." Mark clenched his fists. "Well, they sure as hell didn't do that. This is blatant overreach, and we're not going to let them get away with it." Donna nodded, her expression grim. "We need to call the HOA board and demand an emergency meeting. This is our home, and we're not going to let them ruin it without a fight." The couple hurried to the HOA president's house, their footsteps quickening with each passing minute. When they arrived, Donna took a deep breath and knocked firmly on the door. A well-dressed woman in her 60s answered, her eyebrows raised in surprise. "Donna, Mark, what a pleasant surprise. What can I do for you?" Donna didn't waste any time. "We need to talk about the outrageous decision to demolish our sidewalk and charge us $30,000 for it." The HOA president's expression hardened. "Ah, yes, the board discussed that issue at our last meeting. The sidewalk was deemed a safety hazard, and we felt it needed to be replaced. Without our consent." Mark interjected, his voice rising. You can't just come in and destroy our property without giving us proper notice and a chance to address the issue. The HOA president clasped her hands in front of her. The board felt it was an urgent matter that needed to be addressed immediately. As for the cost, that's simply the going rate for a job of this size. Donna shook her head in disbelief. This is our home, our investment. You can't just take it over and charge us exorbitant fees without any kind of due process. The HOA president's eyes narrowed. I'm sorry, but the board has already made its decision. The work will continue, and you'll be billed accordingly. Mark stepped forward, his expression fierce. Then we'll take this to the city. We know our rights, and we're not going to let you bully us into paying for something we never agreed to. The HOA president's lips thinned into a tight line. Very well. If you insist on taking this further, that's your prerogative. But I can assure you, the board is well within its rights to make these kinds of decisions. As the couple turned to leave, Donna couldn't help but feel a sense of dread. This was just the beginning of a battle they were determined to win, no matter the cost. Donna and Mark hurried back to their home, their minds buzzing with a mix of anger and determination. They knew they had to act fast before the HOA crew completely destroyed their sidewalk. Okay, let's think this through, Donna said, her brow furrowed in concentration. We need to get the city involved, but we also need to document everything and gather as much evidence as possible. Mark nodded, already reaching for his phone. I'm calling our city council representative. Maybe they can put a stop to this before it gets any worse. While Mark made the call, Donna began taking photos and videos of the ongoing destruction. She carefully documented the condition of the sidewalk, the lack of warning signs, and the aggressive manner in which the HOA crew was carrying out their work. As the call connected, Mark's expression darkened. What do you mean there's nothing you can do? This is a clear violation of our rights as homeowners. Donna's heart sank as she listened to Mark's side of the conversation. The city council representative seemed unwilling to intervene, citing the HOA's authority over residential properties. Well, this is unacceptable, Mark exclaimed, his frustration evident. We're not going to just roll over and let them ruin our home. There has to be something we can do. The representative's response must have been unsatisfactory, as Mark's shoulders slumped in defeat. All right, thank you for your time, he said, before hanging up the phone. Donna placed a comforting hand on his arm. What did they say? Mark let out a heavy sigh. They claimed the HOA is within their rights to make these kinds of decisions, and that there's not much the city can do to intervene. We're essentially on our own. Donna felt a wave of panic wash over her. But that can't be right. Surely there must be some legal recourse we can take. I don't know, Donna, Mark said, his voice tinged with resignation. The representative made it clear that the HOA has a lot of power, and the city is reluctant to get involved in these kinds of disputes. Donna's eyes hardened with determination. Well, we're not giving up that easily. We'll find a way to fight this, even if we have to take it all the way to the courts. As the jackhammer's relentless pounding continued outside, Donna and Mark knew they were in for the fight of their lives. They had poured their hearts and savings into this home, and they weren't about to let the HOA take it all away without a fight. Donna and Mark huddled over their kitchen table, surrounded by piles of documents and research materials. They had spent the better part of the day scouring legal resources, searching for any loophole or precedent that could help them fight the HOA's outrageous demands. Okay, so from what I can tell, the HOA does have the authority to make decisions about common areas and shared infrastructure, Donna said, her brow furrowed in concentration. But they still have to follow certain procedures and guidelines. Mark nodded, running a hand through his hair in frustration. And that's the key. They didn't follow any of those procedures. They didn't give us proper notice, they didn't provide a detailed plan or cost breakdown, and they're completely disregarding our rights as homeowners. Donna's eyes lit up with a spark of hope. Exactly. We can use that to our advantage. If we can prove they violated their own bylaws and procedures, we might be able to get them to back off. The couple spent the next several hours meticulously documenting every aspect of the HOA's actions, compiling a detailed timeline and gathering any evidence they could find. As the sun began to set, they felt a renewed sense of determination. "All right, I think we're ready," Donna said, her voice steady. "Let's go talk to the HOA board again, this time armed with the facts." Mark squeezed her hand, a steely resolve in his eyes. "Let's do it. We're not going to let them bully us out of our own home." As they approached the HOA president's house, Donna could feel her heart pounding in her chest. This was a high-stakes battle, and they couldn't afford to make any missteps. The HOA president greeted them with a slightly puzzled expression. "Donna? Mark, back so soon. I thought we had settled this matter." Donna took a deep breath and launched into her carefully prepared argument. "We've done our research, and we've found multiple violations of your own bylaws and procedures. You failed to provide proper notice, a detailed plan, and a cost breakdown, all of which are required by your own governing documents." The HOA president's brow furrowed. "Well, that may be true, but the board ultimately felt this was an urgent matter that needed to be addressed immediately." Mark stepped forward, his voice firm. "That's not good enough. You're using your position of power to steamroll over our rights as homeowners, and we're not going to stand for it." The HOA president's expression hardened. "I'd assure you, the board has acted in the best interests of the community. If you wish to pursue this further, you're welcome to take it to the courts. But I can guarantee you, we have the law on our side." Donna and Mark exchanged a determined look. They knew this battle was far from over, but they were prepared to fight tooth and nail to protect their home and their rights. The next morning, Donna and Mark set out to the local courthouse, their determined steps matching the seriousness of their mission. They had spent the night poring over their evidence, carefully preparing their case against the overbearing HOA. As they approached the courthouse, Donna felt a flutter of nerves in her stomach. "Are you sure about this, Mark? Going to court is a big step, and it's going to be costly." Mark placed a reassuring hand on her shoulder. "We don't have a choice, Donna. This is our home, our investment. We can't just let the HOA walk all over us. We have to fight this, no matter what it takes." Donna nodded, her expression resolute. "You're right. Let's do this." Inside the courthouse, they were greeted by a stern-faced clerk who listened to their complaint with a practiced neutrality. "So you're claiming the HOA violated their own bylaws in their decision to replace your sidewalk?" "That's correct," Donna replied, handing over the meticulously organized file of evidence. "They failed to provide proper notice, a detailed plan, and a cost breakdown, all of which are required by their own governing documents." The clerk thumbed through the documents, her brow furrowing slightly. "I see. And you're requesting an injunction to stop the work and have the HOA cover the legal fees?" "Yes, that's exactly what we're asking for," Mark chimed in. "This is an egregious abuse of power, and we won't stand for it." The clerk nodded, her expression still neutral. "All right, I'll present this to the judge. You'll need to come back tomorrow morning for the hearing." As Donna and Mark exited the courthouse, they both felt a sense of cautious optimism. They knew the battle ahead wouldn't be easy, but they were determined to fight for their home and their rights. The following morning, they arrived at the courthouse, their nerves on edge. The judge, a stern-looking man in his 60s, listened intently as Donna and Mark presented their case, meticulously outlining the HOA's violations and the impact on their property. The HOA's attorney, a sharp-eyed woman in a crisp suit, countered with arguments about the HOA's authority and the need for the repairs. "The sidewalk was deemed a safety hazard, Your Honor. The board acted in the best interest of the community." Donna couldn't help but feel a twinge of frustration. "But they failed to follow their own procedures, as we've clearly shown. This isn't about the sidewalk. It's about the HOA's disregard for our rights as homeowners." The judge paused, his brow furrowed in thought. I understand the concerns on both sides. However, the evidence presented does indicate that the HOA may have indeed overstepped its bounds in this case. Donna felt a surge of hope as the judge continued. I'm granting a temporary injunction to halt the sidewalk replacement until a full hearing can be held. The HOA is also ordered to cover the legal fees incurred by the homeowners. As the gavel came down, Donna and Mark felt the weight lift from their shoulders. They had won the first round, but they knew the battle was far from over. The HOA wasn't going to give up without a fight, and they would need to be prepared for the next stage of the war. The temporary injunction brought a brief respite for Donna and Mark, but they knew the HOA would not back down easily. The pending court battle loomed over them, a constant reminder of the high stakes at play. As they prepared for the upcoming hearing, Donna couldn't help but feel a twinge of anxiety. What if the judge rules in favor of the HOA? We could lose our home. Mark pulled her into a reassuring embrace. We're not going to let that happen. We have a strong case, and we're going to fight this every step of the way. Donna took a deep breath, her resolve strengthening. You're right. We can't give up now, not when we're so close to winning. The days leading up to the hearing were a whirlwind of legal preparation and research. Donna and Mark pored over every detail, anticipating the HOA's arguments and searching for any additional evidence that could bolster their case. When the day of the hearing finally arrived, the courtroom was tense with anticipation. The HOA's attorney, a seasoned professional, presented her case with confidence, arguing that the board had acted within its rights and that the repairs were necessary for the community's safety. Donna and Mark listened intently, their hearts pounding as they waited for their turn to speak. When the judge finally called on them, Donna took a deep breath and stepped forward. Your Honor, the HOA has blatantly disregarded our rights as homeowners, she began, her voice steady. They failed to follow their own procedures, they refused to provide us with the proper notice and documentation, and they're attempting to charge us an exorbitant amount for a project we never consented to. The judge leaned forward, his expression attentive. And what evidence do you have to support these claims? Donna quickly presented the meticulously organized file, outlining each violation and citing the relevant sections of the HOA's bylaws. This is not about the sidewalk itself, Your Honor. It's about the HOA's abuse of power and their disregard for our property rights. The HOA's attorney countered with arguments about the board's fiduciary duty to the community, but Donna and Mark could sense the judge's skepticism. As the hearing wore on, the tension in the courtroom grew palpable. Both sides presented their cases with unwavering conviction, and the judge listened intently, his brow furrowing with concentration. Finally, the judge leaned back in his chair, his expression unreadable. This is a complex case, with valid arguments on both sides. However, the evidence presented by the homeowners is compelling, and it appears the HOA did indeed fail to follow its own procedures. Donna and Mark held their breath, their hands clasped tightly together. Therefore, I'm issuing a permanent injunction against the HOA's sidewalk replacement project, and I'm ordering the HOA to cover all legal fees incurred by the homeowners. A wave of relief and elation washed over Donna and Mark as the judge's words sank in. They had won. Their home, their investment, and their rights as homeowners had been protected. As they left the courthouse, hand in hand, Donna couldn't help but feel a sense of pride and accomplishment. We did it, Mark. We stood up to the HOA and won. Mark squeezed her hand, a triumphant smile on his face. And we're not done yet. This is just the beginning. The victory in court was a momentous one for Donna and Mark, but they knew the war with the HOA was far from over. The board members were furious at having their plans thwarted, and they were determined to find a way to retaliate. As the couple walked back to their car, they could feel the tension in the air. The HOA president had cornered them, her eyes burning with a cold fury. You two think you've won, don't you? She hissed, her voice dripping with disdain. But this is far from over. You have no idea what you're up against. Donna felt a chill run down her spine, but she refused to back down. "We're well aware of your power, but we're not going to let you bully us into submission. This is our home, and we'll fight for it until the end." The HOA president's lips twisted into a sardonic grin. "Oh, you have no idea what we're capable of. Mark my words, you'll regret the day you crossed us." With that, she turned on her heel and strode away, leaving Donna and Mark to wonder what new horrors the HOA had in store for them. Back at home, the couple huddled around the kitchen table, their nerves frayed. "What do you think she meant by that?" Donna asked, her voice trembling. Mark shook his head, his brow furrowed in thought. "I don't know, but we can't let our guard down. These people are ruthless, and they won't stop until they get what they want." Donna took a deep breath, steeling her resolve. "Then we'll have to be even more vigilant. We can't let them intimidate us. We have to fight back, no matter what." Over the next few days, Donna and Mark found themselves on high alert, constantly watching for any signs of retaliation from the HOA. They scoured their neighborhood, looking for suspicious activity, and they kept a close eye on their property, fearing that the HOA might try to sabotage it. But as the days turned into weeks and nothing seemed to happen, Donna and Mark began to relax, their guards slowly lowering. Perhaps the HOA had finally realized that they were a force to be reckoned with and had decided to back off. That was, until the morning when Donna stepped outside to fetch the newspaper and found a stack of papers on her doorstep. Her heart sank as she read the bold headline: "Homeowners facing massive fines for illegal sidewalk modifications." Donna's hands trembled as she scanned the article, her blood turning to ice. The HOA had somehow managed to convince the city to fine them thousands of dollars for unauthorized changes to the sidewalk. Changes that the HOA had forced them to make in the first place. Clutching the papers, Donna rushed back inside, her face pale. "Mark, you need to see this. The HOA is retaliating. They've got the city fining us for the very thing they made us do." Mark's eyes widened as he read the article, his jaw clenching with fury. "Those bastards. They're not going to get away with this." Donna felt a spark of determination ignite within her. "No, they're not. We're going to fight this, Mark. We're not going to let them win." As the couple prepared to take on the HOA once again, they knew that the stakes had never been higher. This was a battle for the very soul of their home, and they were determined to emerge victorious, no matter the cost. Donna and Mark were no strangers to adversity, but the relentless onslaught from the HOA had pushed them to the brink. With the city now fining them for the very sidewalk repairs the HOA had forced them to make, they knew they had to take drastic action. "We can't let them get away with this," Donna said, her eyes narrowed with determination. "They're using every dirty trick in the book to try and break us." Mark nodded, his jaw set. "Well, we're not going to back down. We've come this far, and we're not going to let them win now." The couple wasted no time in gathering their evidence and filing an appeal with the city. They knew that the battle ahead would be tough, but they were determined to expose the HOA's underhanded tactics and clear their names. As the hearing date approached, Donna and Mark prepared for the fight of their lives. They knew that the odds were stacked against them, but they were unwilling to surrender their home and their hard-earned investment without a fight. When the day of the hearing arrived, the tension in the room was palpable. The HOA's attorney, a seasoned legal veteran, presented her case with a practiced ease, painting Donna and Mark as troublemakers who had willfully disregarded the HOA's authority. But Donna and Mark were ready. They methodically laid out their evidence, meticulously documenting the HOA's violations and the city's complicity in their retaliation. "These fines are nothing more than a blatant attempt by the HOA to punish us for standing up for our rights," Donna argued, her voice unwavering. "They forced us to make these unauthorized changes, and now they're trying to make us pay for it." The judge, a grizzled veteran of countless municipal disputes, listened intently, his brow furrowed in concentration. As the hearing wore on, it became increasingly clear that the HOA's case was built on shaky ground. Finally, the judge leaned forward, his expression grim. Based on the evidence presented, it appears that the HOA has indeed engaged in a calculated campaign of retaliation against the homeowners. I'm ordering the city to rescind the fines immediately, and I'm also awarding the homeowners additional damages to cover their legal expenses. A collective gasp rippled through the courtroom as the judge's words sank in. Donna and Mark felt a surge of relief and triumph, their hard-fought battle finally paying off. As they left the courthouse, hand in hand, Donna couldn't help but feel a sense of pride and vindication. We did it, Mark. We fought the HOA, and we won. Mark pulled her into a tight embrace, his eyes shining with pride. I never doubted you for a second, Donna. This is our home, and we're not going to let anyone take it away from us. In the days that followed, Donna and Mark reveled in their victory, knowing that they had stood up for their rights and emerged victorious. The HOA, humiliated and defeated, had no choice but to back down, their attempt at retaliation thoroughly crushed. As they settled back into the peaceful rhythm of their cul-de-sac, Donna and Mark knew that their fight had been worth it. They had protected their home, their investment, and their dignity. And they had done it together, as a team, united in their determination to never back down.